Linguistics and Descriptivism. Descriptivism is a non-judgmental approach to language that focuses on how it is actually spoken and written. So according to this approach, the language is taken as it is. No suggestion is made that it should be like this or that. So the basics in linguistic descriptivism is that we should study language the way it is used by the native speakers. Descriptivism is discussed versus prescriptivism, which is a value judgment. In prescriptivism, the language is discussed the way it should be used. The idea behind descriptive linguistics is that a language is defined by what people do with it. So, every native speaker of any language can use language the way they use it. Nothing can be imposed on the speakers of a language that they should use language in this way or that way. If we are doing this, we are dealing with prescriptivism. The linguists begin research by studying and listening to native speakers. So, to give a descriptive judgment, the linguist take a language, listens to its speaker, and then study language and then make generalization theories on the basis of his interaction with the language as well as with the speakers of that language. So if we try to understand the difference between prescriptivism and descriptivism, we can have a few examples. For example, according to prescriptivists, do not split an infinitive. For example, if we have such a sentence, he would like to quickly finish his work. So we see that here the infinitive is to finish, which is being split with an adverb quickly. According to the prescriptivists, this is a wrong notion because the rules of the grammars, English grammar have come from Latin and Greeks, in which this was not considered correct. So, according to the prescriptivists, this approach is not good. Whereas, when the descriptivists study language, they find that it's a very common use among the English native speakers. Similarly, do not end a sentence with a preposition. Who did you go with? So, this sentence is ended with a preposition. According to descriptivists, it's a very correct sentence in English. Whereas, according to the prescriptivists, this sentence should be rephrased like, with whom did you go? Right? So, similarly, never begin a sentence with an. You cannot start a sentence with and he started his practice. So, according to prescriptivists, this is not a correct sentence, whereas descriptivists say that it's common use of the native speakers of English language. Similarly, the pronoun must be nominative case after comparative adjective, like Mary runs faster than me. It should, according to prescriptivist, it should be than I. So, nominative case of pronoun after verb to be, it's me, is not correct. It should have been, it is I. So, this is the basic difference between prescriptivist and descriptivist. You have known that they are making judgments for regarding the language, the prescriptivist making judgment, whereas the descriptivist make no judgment. They take the language as the speaker of a language use the language. Except only in certain educational contexts, modern linguists utterly reject prescriptivism and their investigations are based instead on descriptivism. So only in education, where a lot of people belonging to different communities have to study language, so there only the descriptivists give margin to the use of prescriptive rules of language. No value judgments about the speech of native speakers. So the linguists do not say that the speech of a certain community is better than the other community, without attempting to get the speakers to modify their language according to standards external to the language itself. There is no standard dialect of a language. which is imposed on the speaker of a community, that they should use language in such and such way. The speaker of the community are free to use language the way they want to use it. Descriptive linguistics aim to understand the ways people use language in the world, given all of the forces that influence such use. So here we mean that people use language on the basis of certain groups, economical group, class distinctions, age groups, profession. So all these influence are exerted on the language use, and people use language under all these influences. So prescriptivism lies at the other end of this continuum and is usually associated with stipulating rules and norms for language use. So descriptivism does not give any rule, whereas prescriptivism give rules, and it is busy making rules. Do this and don't do that. So we conclude that linguistics is descriptive. It has no value judgment on the speech of any speech community. It studies language as it is.